What if the most protein-dense plants on Earth were the ones you've been pulling out of your garden and throwing away? There are perennial vines out there, vines that come back every single year without you replanting them, that pack more protein per gram than chicken breast, beef, and eggs combined, and most people have never even heard of them. If you're serious about food security, homesteading, permaculture, or just growing your own food and slashing your grocery bill, you cannot afford to miss what's coming next. Stay locked in, because number one on this list is going to completely change the way you look at your growing space. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Gardeners who subscribed last month caught our video on perennial food forest before it blew up, and they've already started applying what they learned. Don't be the one watching this 6 months late. Now let's get straight into it. Number 10 on this list is the sword bean, botanical name Cannivalia gladiata. You've probably walked right past this vine at a nursery and had absolutely no idea what you were looking at. This is a tropical and subtropical perennial climber that can reach up to 10 feet in a single growing season. In zones 9 and above, it comes back reliably every year. In cooler zones, you can treat it as a cutback perennial or grow it in a large container and overwinter it indoors. The seeds of the sword bean contain between 25 and 27% protein by dry weight. For reference, cooked chicken breast sits at roughly 31% protein by dry weight. But you have to raise that chicken, feed it, slaughter it, and store it. This vine, you plant it once, give it something to climb, and it feeds you for years. The pods are harvested young and eaten like green beans, and the mature seeds are dried and used exactly like any legume. Soups, stews, flour. The leaves are also edible and used as animal fodder in parts of Africa and Asia. One underrated thing about sword bean that most gardeners don't know, it's a nitrogen fixer. It's actively improving your soil while it's feeding you. That's the kind of plant that earns its space in any food forest or permaculture garden. Number 9 is Lablab Bean, also called Hyacinth Bean, Dolichos lablab, or by its proper name Lablab purpureus. In tropical and warm subtropical regions, this vine is fully perennial. In temperate zones with mild winters, it behaves as a perennial with some protection. And even when gardeners in colder climates grow it as an annual, the root system is so vigorous that it often returns on its own. The protein content in Lablab seeds ranges from 20 to 25%. But here's what makes Lablab genuinely fascinating. Every single part of this plant is edible. Young leaves, flowers, pods, and seeds. The flowers are stunning, deep purple, and they attract pollinators like nothing else in the garden. So while you're building a high-protein food source, you're also building a pollinator corridor that supports everything else growing nearby. Lablab has been used as a staple crop in Africa, Asia, and the Indian subcontinent for thousands of years. It's only in Western gardening culture that it got reduced to an ornamental. If your growing space is limited and you need maximum output from minimum square footage, Lablab is one of the smartest choices you can make. It climbs trellises, fences, pergolas, and arches. It gives you food, beauty, and soil fertility all at once. Number 8 is wild yam bean, Sphainostylus stenocarpa. This one is almost completely unknown outside of West Africa, and that's a genuine shame, because the protein content sits between 21 and 29%. That's competing directly with beef. It's a vigorous perennial climber in tropical zones that produces pods prolifically throughout the growing season. The seeds are used traditionally as a meat substitute and protein source in Nigeria, Ghana, and surrounding regions. They require longer cooking times than most legumes, but once properly prepared, they have a rich, nutty, deeply satisfying flavor that works beautifully in any slow-cooked dish. What makes this vine particularly relevant for serious food growers is its drought tolerance. Once established, it keeps producing even when rainfall becomes irregular, which matters more and more as weather patterns shift. If you're building a resilient, self-sufficient garden that doesn't collapse during a dry summer, wild yam bean belongs on your list. Seeds are available through specialty suppliers and heirloom seed companies. It's worth hunting for. Number 7 is velvet bean, Mucuna pruriens. Now, if you've been in the homesteading or permaculture space for any length of time, you might have heard of mucuna as a cover crop. But most people don't realize just how extraordinary this plant is as a food source. The seeds contain between 27 and 32% protein. They're also rich in L-dopa, which is a precursor to dopamine. There is legitimate research exploring mucuna's role in neurological health, and while we're not making any medical claims here, the nutritional profile of this plant is extraordinary. It's a fast-growing, aggressive perennial vine in zones 10 and above. In cooler climates, it can be grown as an annual with an impressively long productive season. The key thing to understand about velvet bean is that you must process the seeds properly. Raw seeds contain anti-nutrients that cause serious discomfort. Soaking, boiling, and changing the cooking water multiple times is essential. But properly prepared, mucuna seeds have been a staple food in parts of Africa and Asia for centuries. The pods and leaves are also used as fodder, extremely high-value fodder at that. And the plant is one of the most powerful nitrogen fixers you can grow. In a food forest system, mucuna is a workhorse. It builds soil, outcompetes weeds, and produces protein-dense food simultaneously. Very few plants do all three at that level. Number 6 is the groundnut vine Apios americana, also called hopnus or Indian potato. This is a native North American perennial vine that was a critical food source for indigenous peoples for thousands of years. It nearly disappeared from the American food landscape entirely, which is one of the great losses in North American food culture. The tubers, small, round, chestnut-like nodules that form on the root system, contain between 11 and 17% protein, which is extraordinary for a root vegetable. Most root vegetables sit at 1 to 3%. The beans produced by this vine contain over 20% protein. It grows naturally in moist, partially shaded environments, which means it fills ecological niches that most high-protein crops simply can't occupy. It's a nitrogen fixer. It spreads gradually through the soil each year, producing more and more tubers as the plant matures. By year 3, a well-established groundnut vine can produce a genuinely meaningful harvest of nutritionally dense tubers that can be roasted, boiled, or dried and ground into flour. The flavor is often described as richer and nuttier than regular potato, with a satisfying heartiness that makes it genuinely filling. For anyone growing in partial shade, near water features, or in food forest understory layers, Apios americana is one of the most underutilized perennial food plants in North America. Hardy down to zone 3 or 4 depending on the variety, almost zero maintenance once established. Number 5 is the Marama Bean, Tylosema esculentum. This is a drought-adapted perennial vine native to southern Africa, and researchers have called it one of the most nutritionally promising underutilized crops on the planet. The seeds contain up to 35% protein and up to 40% fat, a fat profile that's been compared favorably to peanuts and soybeans. Traditional communities in the Kalahari region have relied on this plant for survival during famine conditions because of its extraordinary resilience. It grows in sandy, nutrient-poor soils where almost nothing else produces food. It handles extreme heat and prolonged drought without collapsing, and it comes back year after year from its large perennial root system. The roasted seeds taste remarkably similar to cashews. The seeds can also be ground into a flour or processed into a beverage that's been compared to hot chocolate. This plant has not been widely commercialized yet, which means the window to grow it and understand it before everyone else catches on is right now. Seeds are available through specialty and rare seed suppliers. If you're building a food security garden or a permaculture system in a hot, dry climate, Marama Bean is possibly the single most powerful plant you could add. Number 4 is Kudzu, Poraria montana, Poraria lobata. Before you click away, stay with me, because what you're about to hear is going to reframe everything you thought you knew about this plant. Yes, Kudzu is considered an invasive species in the southeastern United States. Yes, it covers millions of acres. Yes, people spend enormous amounts of money trying to eradicate it. But here's what nobody's telling you. Kudzu leaves contain between 20 and 29% protein by dry weight. The roots have been used in traditional Chinese medicine and as a food source in Japan and Korea for centuries. The flowers are edible and beautiful. The starch extracted from kudzu roots is used as a thickening agent and has genuine functional food applications. In controlled growing conditions, like a deliberately managed trellis system with regular harvesting, kudzu is one of the most productive perennial protein sources you can grow. The regular harvesting itself controls its growth. The young leaves and shoots are eaten as a vegetable. The dried leaves can be powdered and added to smoothies, soups, or baked goods for a protein boost. If you live in a region where kudzu is already growing, you're literally sitting on a wild protein harvest and paying to ignore it. That mindset shift is worth more than any seed catalog. Number 3 is the winged bean, Sophocarpus tetragonalobus. This plant has been called the supermarket on a stalk, and once you understand why, you'll understand exactly why it deserves to be in the top 3. Every single part of this plant is edible. Leaves, flowers, pods, seeds, and roots. All of it nutritious, all of it useful. The seeds contain between 29 and 40% protein by dry weight. The tuberous roots contain around 15 to 20% protein, which is extraordinarily high for a root. In tropical and warm subtropical environments, this is a true perennial vine that climbs vigorously and produces prolifically. In temperate zones, it's grown as an annual, with remarkable productivity. The pods have 4 distinctive wing-like ridges along their edges, and that's where the name comes from. And they're harvested young and eaten exactly like green beans with a slightly nutty, fresh flavor. The flowers are edible and visually stunning. Researchers in the 1970s and 1980s seriously proposed winged bean as a solution to protein malnutrition in developing countries because of its productivity, versatility, and extraordinary nutritional density. It didn't get the global attention it deserved then, but right now, in the homesteading, permaculture, and self-sufficient gardening communities, winged bean is gaining serious momentum, and for good reason. If you're growing food in a tropical or subtropical climate, and you haven't grown winged bean yet, that changes today. Number 2 is the perennial climbing soybean, particularly Glycine tomentella, and related wild perennial glycine species. Most people know soybean as an annual crop. But what fewer gardeners know is that there are genuinely perennial species within the glycine genus, wild relatives of the cultivated soybean, that form persistent root systems, fix nitrogen aggressively, and produce seed with a protein profile comparable to cultivated soy, sitting at 30 to 40% protein by dry weight. Breeders and researchers have been working for years to cross these perennial traits into productive food varieties, and the results are beginning to reach gardeners. The advantage of a perennial soybean vine in your food system is massive. You eliminate the annual replanting labor, the root system continues deepening and improving your soil year after year, and nitrogen fixation happens continuously rather than for a single season. The vines climb readily and produce heavily in warm climates. They handle drought better than annual soy once established. For anyone serious about building a low-input, high-output food production system, watching the development of perennial soybean varieties and getting in early is one of the smartest moves you can make. Some heirloom and specialty suppliers are already offering glycine species seed. The time to start experimenting is now, before this becomes mainstream. And number 1, the ultimate perennial vine protein powerhouse you need in your garden right now is the one that combines insane growth, ridiculous protein levels, and total ease. Malabar spinach in its red-stemmed form, because this vine truly does it all better than anything else on this list. One single plant can cover an entire fence and keep giving you high-protein greens through the hottest, driest summers when every other plant is struggling. You plant it once, train it once, and then just keep harvesting while it grows like a weed and comes back stronger every single year. What makes Malabar spinach genuinely remarkable beyond its growth habit is the nutritional profile. The leaves contain between 4 and 5 grams of protein per 100 grams fresh weight, which sounds modest until you realize that regular spinach sits at about 2.9. And this vine produces exponentially more biomass than any spinach plant you've ever grown. You're not picking a handful, so you're harvesting armfuls continuously for months. The red-stemmed variety specifically contains higher levels of antioxidants and beta-cyanins compared to the green-stem type, giving it a nutritional edge on top of everything else. It thrives in heat and humidity that destroys most leafy greens. It laughs at summer. While your lettuce is bolting and your kale is turning bitter, Malabar spinach is exploding upward and outward, giving you more and more with every passing week. In tropical and subtropical zones, it is a true perennial that overwinters without any intervention. In temperate zones, the root system often survives mild winters and regenerates in spring, and even where it doesn't, it self-seeds so prolifically that you'll never have to buy another plant again. This vine is the definition of grow it once and eat forever. It belongs on every trellis, every fence, every pergola, every food forest, Lablab Bean. And if you're not growing it already, that is the first thing you need to fix when you walk out into your garden after watching this. Now here's your bonus. And this is information that most gardening channels will never give you. If you want to maximize protein yield from any of these vines, there are 3 things you must do. First, inoculate your soil with the correct Rhizobium bacteria strain before planting any leguminous vine. Without the right bacterial partner, legumes cannot fix nitrogen effectively, and their protein production drops significantly. Inoculants are cheap, widely available, and take 30 seconds to apply. Most gardeners skip this step. Don't be most gardeners. Second, harvest regularly. Every single vine on this list produces more when harvested consistently. Leaving mature pods on the vine signals the plant to slow down. Consistent harvesting signals it to keep producing. Your harvest schedule is as important as your watering schedule. Third, understand that the protein content of leaves is highest in young growth. The fresh, tender new leaves of Kudzu, winged bean, Lablab, Mucuna, and Malabar spinach are nutritionally superior to mature leaves. Incorporate young leaves into your harvest rotation, and you're getting maximum nutritional value from minimum plant material. One more bonus that no one talks about. These vines are companion planting powerhouses. Pair any nitrogen-fixing perennial vine with a heavy-feeding companion plant. Squash, sweet corn, fruit trees, perennial vegetables. They all benefit from the nitrogen these vines pump into the soil. You're not just growing food, you're building a living, self-fertilizing ecosystem that gets more productive every single year you don't till it up. That is the real promise of perennial food. Gardening. You stop starting over, you start building forward. If this video changed the way you see your growing space, and if even one of these vines is going into your garden this season, subscribe right now. Every week, we go deeper into food forests, permaculture design, high-yield gardening, and the plants that the mainstream gardening world hasn't figured out yet. You don't want to be a full season behind when the next one drops. Hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.